Hey everyone, John Rocha here. Really excited for this interview today. The gentleman I'm going to interview here, you've seen him in shows like Empire. He was Triton in Humans, True Blood, Castle, Two Broke Girls, House, among others. And hey, he was Ryu in Street Fighter Assassin's Fist and in Street Fighter Resurrection. He's arguably the star of the first trailer for Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, as he convincingly brought Bruce Lee back to life. For those of us who are massive fans of Bruce Lee, it was incredible. He's a martial artist of his own. He just finished kicking my butt out in the alley. And I'm very glad to welcome from the Midwest, visiting LA now, the great Mike Moh. How are you, Mike?
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. I'm doing great.
Yeah? How's your day been going? Because you've been going to other interviews as well and doing all this kind of stuff. Like, what's your energy like doing the Hollywood thing?
I'm happy. I just had a bowl of pho, so I'm feeling really full and full of energy for this film. I'm super excited to be here. I've seen a bunch of your interviews and colliders at the top of my Twitter feed as well.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
And what's the shirt you're wearing, right? Give us some shout out there.
It's an honor just to be Asian.
It is.
So, represent.
Yeah, respect. Wendy always wants me to become Asian, but I can't do it. Let's move on to let's ask a question. I want to find this out because, like, watching the trailer, and this our friend Patrick reached out to me, and he was like, "Was he really such a star for you?" I'm like, "Yeah, Bruce Lee was fantastic growing up for me. Those of us a certain age, he was such an idol." And then to see someone bring him back to life the way you have, what was that process like? And I went and saw some of your old interviews from 2014 or videos from 2014, 2015. You had already mastered the voice and the moves, so it was almost like you were prepping for this like your whole life. How did this come about for you?
Starting from when I was a kid, you know, the first kung fu movie that got me like hooked before I even started martial arts was Rumble in the Bronx, Jackie Chan. And that was kind of like my introduction. And then I was like, my dad and I would watch other movies, and then I saw Enter the Dragon, and that was like, it busted the door wide open. It was like the wormhole to not only Bruce Lee but just martial arts.
Right.
And I was like, I need to learn. So when I was 12, it took me about 2 years to convince my parents. You know, they were I was small and weak and, you know, fragile. I'm sure they didn't want me to like hurt myself or anything. So eventually I got my parents to sign me up at the Taekwondo school next to the grocery store that we go to.
Right.
And from then on, it was that's been a huge part of my life.
Wow.
And then just mimicking Bruce and knowing Bruce and learning about his philosophy and just his way of life. It really has been kind of like a culmination, this role of a lifetime of martial arts, and then as I journeyed to become an actor, and so yeah, I'm still kind of pinching myself that I get to play not only my idol, but you know, in a movie directed by one of the all-time great directors. Well,
let's go to there. What was it like being on set, working with Quentin Tarantino, and bringing Bruce Lee back to life? Because, of course, he's a massive fan of 70s movies, influenced by those kinds of movies throughout all his films. What was it like for you to work with him and take this character on for him?
He's a massive Bruce Lee fan, and he knows so much about every single movie ever made. It's unbelievable, actually. I remember the first time I met him when I auditioned for him. We just talked Bruce for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I did my thing, and you know, he's so energetic. I've never met somebody with such a passion. And when you meet somebody that's so passionate about something, you can't help but be passionate with them. You know, from the moment I met him, like, of course I was getting ready. I prepped for the audition, but after I met him and just felt how important this was to him and how important Bruce was to him personally and to this film, I put it into overdrive, man. I told him, like, I said leaving the room, because I didn't know if I would get the role, if there would be more steps. I said, Mr. Tarantino, I promise if you pick me, people are going to think Bruce Lee came back to life to be in your film.
Wow.
And I think he kind of chuckled at me, looked at me, because he's tall. He looked down at me like, probably he's thinking, sure, whatever, kid. So I walk out, and, you know, long process. I finally land the role, and his sets... I think I'm still coming off the high of just being on such a amazing set with, you know, all-stars. Just like we were talking about football earlier.
Yeah.
You know, imagine being a Viking fan all your life, never making it to the Super Bowl win, you know?
Right.
But now I'm like on the Patriots.
Right. And now you're getting to the Patriots, the Super Bowl all the time.
Yeah. Brad Pitt's, you know, my quarterback, throwing me the ball, and Tarantino's Belichick. So, yeah, That was awesome.
Did you train, like that fight with Brad Pitt is great in the trailer. Did you work with Brad Pitt? Did you do the stunt, or was there another stunt coordinator on set who was helping you with the martial art choreography?
So a team. So Zoe Bell, who's worked with Quentin a lot.
Zoe's great.
She's epic. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She was the stunt coordinator. And then a guy, Rob Alonzo, who's kind of like, I call him the Swiss Army knife of martial arts. He knows everything. He's a big Bruce fan as well. He's done some Jeet Kune Do. So together they helped me prep. And of course, like I've done martial arts in the past. I have my own school, and I'm a 5th degree in Taekwondo. Right. But it's different. And I knew that going in. Like Taekwondo and Jeet Kune Do, they're not the same. And I didn't pretend to think they were the same. So I worked my ass off to make sure that the martial arts was authentically Bruce as much as I could have it. Yeah. And big props to Brad, because he was there hour after hour in between shooting, you know? Right. He's one of the stars of the film, and he's on his breaks. No, he's not relaxing. He's coming to the stunt training
to work with you guys. Yeah.
So no, it's all us, and of course we had a great team and great doubles helping us come up with the fights and all that stuff. Right. But Quentin was very adamant about having the action be done by us. Right, and the authenticity of it all. Did you have conversations with him as you were doing this film, as you were on set with him about Bruce? Like, did you like, I want to keep this, I like to have this, or like this would work better, or anything like any of that nature to kind of bring your own years-long expertise and love of Bruce Lee to this character? You know, he didn't really give me a lot of direction in terms of the Bruce, and you know, kudos to him, because I think he trusted me, because he knew he could sense through me how important this is a moment for me personally, and also professionally. And I'm sure if I did something wrong, I would have been the first thing. You probably would have sensed it before Quentin did. And he told me that our last stunt rehearsal, he pulls me aside. This was like 2 days before we shot, before I started filming. He goes, "Come here." Yeah. Pulls me aside, you know, he's like, there's a sequence that the way I want to do it, it's all up to you to get it right. And if you can't do it, I can't shoot it the way I want to shoot it. Wow. So I look at him, I'm like, yes, sir, I got it, sir, you know? Yeah. And he's like, and then he gives me like, all right, well, I wouldn't have hired you if I didn't believe you could do it. That's bad. I said, I'm your man. That sounds like Belichick to me. Yeah. So, you know, it's I've never been under such pressure. Yeah. But I've never had so much like belief in myself because of the hours and years and, you know. Yeah. And you've been building to this moment. I mean, looking at your career, all the stuff you've done, you know, as we mentioned, Inhumans, Triton, but stuff before that, you know, the work on Empire, all these other TV shows and stuff that you did with Street Fighter, like all of that was you kind of figuring this out, this business career out. Absolutely. And now you're at this spot. So like you've done your bones. You weren't just handed this role. So that must have been nice to have a director of that caliber and that quality give you that confidence in that moment. Because like, in my personal opinion, as I'm looking at you here and I'm talking to the fans, I think we're catching you just before you become a star, like a real big star. And you've been working towards it. And those of us who respect that kind of process, like, have nothing but love for that. I appreciate those words, John. Yeah. You know, I think I give him tons of props for trusting me, because if I were a big name director, I could see like this guy hasn't done the big, you know, he hasn't worked with you know, and I love my time on all the stuff I've done before, and honestly, I was still exactly like you said, I'm still finding my way. Yeah. Just like the characters in this movie, you know, Cliff and Rick, they're looking to navigate in a world of Hollywood that's changing. And Bruce himself, you know, something that I, you know, discovered during my study of Bruce is he wasn't just this legendary figure that everybody has these memes and gifs about. He was a real guy that was struggling to find his mark in Hollywood. Like, look, he took his bones as well, and he had things taken from him. He had things that, you know, racially he had to fight uphill against. So without his groundwork on a lot of that stuff, like, I'm not here. Yeah, I think that's why you got to give a little bit of love to Rob Cohen's Dragon film, the Bruce Lee story, because they did such a good job of exposing that. Absolutely. That you didn't know the other side of it, you know, of what he had to go through. The thing I want to talk to you, we can't talk about details of the film, but when you're fighting Sharon Tate in the film, how does that go about when you have a fight scene with Sharon Tate in the film? So I don't have a So with Brad?
No, with Margot Robbie, when you guys are going at it, do you have... No, because we can't talk about plot. I'm just joking.
It's like,
do we see a lot of Bruce in the film? Is there... Do you know? Can you say?
There's a lot more where that scene came from. I can say that.
All right. We'll leave it there in terms of the film. What is it about Bruce Lee that inspires you? Because it's so... It seems to... Like, when I'm watching your videos, you do that glass quote a lot in those videos, and they're really... It seems to speak really powerfully to you. What is it about Bruce himself that speaks to you?
I think what makes him transcend over just any actor or any star persona or any martial artist even is his philosophy. If you go back and read his philosophies on not only martial arts but life in general, he was literally 50 years ahead of his time. What he's saying in terms of martial arts, he was the first guy that said, no, I'm not just going to stick to this one thing because it's tradition.
Right.
I'm going to take whatever I can learn. What does he say? Keep what is useful, discard what is not.
Right.
Like that is, he went against the grain on that. So that's why people consider him the grandfather of MMA.
Yeah.
And I try to follow that in my own. I'm a Taekwondo guy, but I teach my students what I think is going to be useful.
Right. Is Enter the Dragon your favorite Bruce Lee film?
It is.
Okay.
It is. I mean,
it still is.
It still is.
Even with Big Boss and Chinese Connection, it still is.
I mean, there are moments in other films that are like amazing, but Enter the Dragon, that was the first one that I saw that was also like the first R-rated film I saw. So,
there you go.
There's amazing fight scenes in there.
You're like, oh, Jim Kelly's doing some things in here.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
That's what a woman looks like. Okay, so a lot of interesting. I'm sure my parents are like, oh yeah. But my parents didn't really speak English that well.
Oh, okay.
So I learned a lot of things about life through media, through TV shows, through Bruce Lee. So I kind of learned that it was possible to be a cool, masculine, ultra awesome Asian dude.
Right.
Thanks to Bruce and Jackie and guys like that.
Right.
So I think that's why I kind of was able to latch onto martial arts so well, because number one, I saw it.
Yeah.
And number two, it just clicked with me. So hopefully we'll get another generation of young kids of all genders and affiliations or whatever that see this movie and remember what it was like back in the 60s and how it's all changing, and we can all find our own thing that makes us feel confident.
Well, that brings to the next question, because another iconic Asian character that people have floated your name for is Shang-Chi. Even Patton Oswalt on Twitter, and who is a nerd god, when he is giving you his blessing to go and play this role and tagging Marvel, I think he did on that tweet as well. Is there an update? Are you in contention for this? Is there an update? Can you say anything about that?
I don't know if I'm in contention. I know that it's a little ways off. I'm a huge fan of the Marvel films. I would love to do. It would be a dream to enter DC or Marvel, anything like that. But I would like to think that I'm starting to become one of those shortlisters, in any role like that. So anytime you can get a guy like Kevin Feige who's doing just incredible things. He's paving the way for all these other people to follow the blueprint.
Absolutely.
Like, the guys at 8711, Chad Stahelski, David Leitch. Like, man, this is a great time to be not only an actor, but an action actor as well.
Well, I would float out there, it seems to be a great time to be an Asian actor now. It seems more... that's starting to become more of a thing people are focusing on, bringing the Asian community into the superhero world, into the franchise world. I hear rumors about Submariner possibly being someone as well. That could be someone. Do you feel that? Do you sense that you're getting into more doors now than you did before? Not just because because of your talent, rather, but also because they want to start looking at more Asian actors for roles.
Absolutely, and like big props to John Chu and Crazy Rich Asians.
Of course.
Like that.
Right.
That just showed what we Asian Americans believed already. Of course, there's so many of us, and we want to see ourselves, and we want to be represented in a way that all kids can feel like they have an opportunity to do what people of other skin color can do as well. So, I definitely think it's moving in a way that's more representative of our world, and I just hope that I feel like with Black Panther and Crazy Rich Asians, I hope that it's not just an Asian thing. I hope it's just like I want movies to look like what the real world looks like.
Yeah. I keep waiting for that Latino superhero, but it hasn't happened yet.
Marvel,
no, not me.
right here.
No. I'll be his dad. I'm doing, but I want to see it at some point.
Right.
With the experience on Inhumans. What can you say about what can we say about that when we walked the line? It didn't sour you on coming back to the Marvel Universe, right? Because you had a good time playing Triton. It may not have worked out overall, but what do you take from that experience, I guess, is what I would ask you.
So Marvel, ABC, they were great. I mean, obviously, they had a great track record with shows. So when I got the job, I was like, oh, I'm going to sit back a couple years, 4 or 5 years on this show.
I'm going to wear this makeup. I'll be perfect. I'll be set.
So, yeah, obviously, things don't always work out the way you plan them to. But because of that show, you know, maybe that door closed, but because of that opportunity, other doors opened and paths zig and zag. And, you know, who knows, if that show didn't get canceled, maybe I'm not available to do this.
Exactly.
So,
I think that's a great way to look at it.
I'm very grateful for Scott Buck and ABC, Marvel, so, yeah.
And it puts you on their radar, if nothing else, right? For possibly Shang-Chi down the road, or Submariner, depending on if they get the rights for him or not. I think you're good as a martial artist. I've watched your stuff on Instagram, but it looks like your wife might be better. And you said this before.
I was about to right across it, like, good.
No, I've taken it.
No, you're right.
No, I've seen your wife. Your wife has incredible reach and, I mean, just great kicks. If you and your wife were to go at it now, who would take this battle?
I'm running for the hills.
Really?
Her legs are longer. She's, in all honesty, she's awesome. Without her, I wouldn't have the capacity mentally or physically to pursue so many endeavors. So, you know, yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah.
She was a second-degree black belt before I even started. So when I walked into my first class, that's how we met.
Right.
She was a second-degree black belt already.
She flipped you and you knew it was love.
Totally.
Absolutely. And some people may not know this. Her mom was one of your teachers. Yeah. So that's pretty badass. So you keep it on the family. And you all co-own the martial artist studio that you have, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, we co-owned one in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay.
But then we left to LA. Right. Then we came back. And when
so you opened a new one?
Yeah, when I came back to Madison, Wisconsin, that's when I opened my own. That was the first school that I opened on my own.
Right on. Well, shout out to you. She scares me. All right, let's move on to the last question I want to ask before we wrap up here. What wisdom from Bruce Lee would you like to impart to the fans that are watching or listening to this video and are fighting to pursue their dreams just like you did for a number of years? Is there a piece of wisdom that you hold on to that helps you that maybe might help them out there?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's an interview that I, had on repeat. It was the Pierre Berton show, the black and white, where so many of those great quotes come from. And of course, I could, go with the obvious answer of be water, my friend, but I really...
Can you do it as a Bruce Lee voice?
I'll do my best. I kind of shed the voice, so my voice might not be as good. But he said something about, the word star, man, it really turns me off. And he would rather have people consider him a super actor than a celebrity or a star. And, when you're young and when I got in this business, of course, you get your first gig, people are treating you a certain way. And that's nice. But now that I've kind of matured and have been around a little bit, it really... While it's nice to talk with you and be on these awesome sets and interviews and stuff, what I really want to do is just improve as a performer, improve as an artist. So that's great when the trailer comes out and I'm getting all this love. It feels great, but ultimately I feel proud because all of the work that I put in is being recognized. Mostly, like, I get to feel like, oh, God, I did it. Like, after so many doors have shut, so many trials, tribulations, I just want to become better at my craft. Yeah, I think that's one of the great things in reading interviews with you in the past. That's one of the things that drives you, this idea to be one of the best actors in the room and one of the best martial artists in the room, one of the best stunt actors as well. So that's great to have that drive. And I personally am very happy to have gotten the time with you, Mike. And this film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you all are massive Tarantino fans. It's coming out on July 26th, but this is the guy you got to look out for. This one, he's about to blow up. I got a feeling. So thanks so much for taking the time. Nice to meet you, Mike. All right, we'll see you next time. Remember to like and share this video on your social media and subscribe to Collider for more interviews and more videos just like this.